This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are we? Well, did you clench your buttocks at that game? I think there was a few clenched buttocks out there. Leicester City 2. We're playing Crystal Palace A. I'm still excited. Leicester City 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Yes! 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 Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh. I'll have what she's having.
I don't mind playing that every week. What I also don't mind playing or showing is this. Don't forget, you've only got 4 days left to get 30% off. Barry Pierpoint, Leicester's first chief executive, a story of Leicester City in the 1990s, minding my own football business. Whoa, they were the good years. Martin O'Neill, Brian Little, and we went from private to public ownership. This is Barry's story of what happened there. It's a great read. And if you go to the website, all the W's, mindingmyownfootballbusiness.co.uk, in the next 4 days, by the end of April, just on that website only, you'll get 30% off. And Barry will do a personal signature and signing for you. Well, I tell you what, I turned to my son and went, Nacho's having a shit game, isn't he? And he went, no, he's not. I went, yeah, he is. He's not scored yet. What happened? I tell you what happened. I went for a piss. And of course, in the toilet, I could hear my son shouting from the other room. And I thought he was winding me up. But he wasn't. It was 2-1. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. And this is the post-match show. It is indeed, and you can get us on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV. Please give us a little subscribe. We would be very, very, very grateful. Facebook, we are on Leicester Till I Die, the group. There may be one or two problems connecting with Facebook. I've had the heads up from StreamYard, so we may have a few problems on that, but fingers crossed that it will work. And on the old Twitter sphere, at Leicester TID. Couple of comments here. James Koski, good evening, James. Thanks for joining us. What a nerve-wracking game. Glad to get all 3 points. Stephen Collins, winning ugly. I suppose it's better to win ugly than, my case, look ugly. Melina, Leicester were awful in the first half. Not impressed with Vardy today. He didn't offer much. Well, if I was an Arsenal fan, I might say that Arsenal were awful in the first and the second half. But, you know, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. Thanks for joining us, Melina. How the devil are you? Yes, it was. Job done. 3 points secured. And totally should have stayed in the closet. Chris may have got a third. I was tempted Because normally for the last 20 minutes, I'm useless at watching games on the telly. Like I've said many, many times, I need to buy a dog for those last 15 minutes and take. So maybe I should have just sat in the carsy with the radio on and listened to it. But hey, we got 3 points. And I'm going to ask Brad a question in a minute. And he might not agree with me, but there's very little we agree about if I'm honest with you. But let's get him in first of all. My Susanna Reid to my Piers Morgan. Brad, Susanna with a beard. How are you doing, sir? Happy?
I'm doing very well. I'm just working currently on my Oscar speech for the award ceremony at the end of the season, mate, when you start handing out Best Hosts Award. as the discussion on Twitter was. But yeah, apart from that, I'm really enjoying my evening.
I did see that Melina did say she doesn't know how you put up with me, but I did reply that I'd love to get a word in edgeways to actually say something to upset you.
I told you if someone answered a question, be quiet.
But let me ask you this. Big, I don't know. You may not be old enough, but when I was a wee lad. When I was a wee lad, maybe in the 80s, so maybe sort of late teens, early 20s, and Liverpool were the dominant force. And I can always remember Liverpool never seemed to panic. If they were 1-0 down, even with 15 odd minutes to go, they would still play football, pass it around, just waiting for that opportunity to come. They wouldn't just start hoofing it up a la Wimbledon. They'd literally just, keep hold of the ball. Well, there's a chance. Pass it through and change the game. It kind of sums up Leicester for me at the moment.
Yeah, I think that whole 90 minutes typified it. Sometimes we can say we come on here after a bad game or a bad result and say they didn't turn up. Well, this is one of them games where they didn't turn up in the first half, but they very much turned up in the second half. They never broke their stride. They didn't change it up. They were resilient in the way forward because they obviously felt that if they were, and obviously they were a bit more aggressive in the second half, which helped do things a bit quicker and a bit easier. But aside from maybe a slight tweak in how to do things, easy for me to say apparently. In our tempo, they were very, like you say, Liverpool-like of the 80s. They never panicked. I mean, the fans are doing the panicking for them on the pitch. That second half was something else. Well, I would say in comparison to the first half, but it wasn't a lot to go by, was it? Really, the first half. Let's face it. No.
I mean, they came with almost parking the bus. That was their intention. I don't think they wanted to sort of lose badly. And I think that Palace side would have been happy to come away with a point. And it was a case of being patient. That said, any other game, we could have actually had 4 or 5.
Yeah, we could have. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish we had some selfish strikers at times because they couldn't decide between the 3 of them for one attempt, could they? It's like, which all jesting aside is great to see. I mean, we could wax lyrical about a certain striker's performance all night if we have, but we have a whole game to get through. So I'll let you bring me to that point.
Can I just ask a quick question there? Who the third striker was you were referring to?
Well, I say striker with a loose tongue on it, but Perez was one of the third attacking players. Should I correct that statement?
Thank you there. Thank you. Yes. I mean, player is pushing it, to be totally honest with you sometimes.
I mean, this might shock you. Check your heart rate. Make sure it's down. But I'm going to say this. Perez coming on improved us.
To be honest with you, yes. I mean, you looked at Palace. Palace hadn't actually played a game for 16 days. We played one. What was it? When did we play? Friday. So 3 days ago we played a game. We've got another game in 4 days' time, and they haven't played for 16 days. And maybe I was being a little bit unfair to Mr. Perez there, but The players looked leggy, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and you could argue in the end that maybe Palace having such a long break in between paid dividends. I think in the end, one thing that was notable, which really to me was the point where I felt that Leicester are really going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and find the winner, was they seemed to that Palace themselves then seemed to run out of steam themselves. Leicester seemed to get into half time kind of with the tails between the legs, but somehow behind in the game in what was a poor first half. Probably have themselves a shot of espresso or two each, or a Red Bull if you're Jamie Vardy, and came to life. And I think we ended up winning that game because we managed it better, but by having the games coming thick and fast, it actually, if you look at our results, it's probably beneficial to Leicester to be playing every 3 or 4 days because we seem to get a better result out of us. Not that we've had a bad season in general, but
I am going to actually blow my own trumpet here, and that's nothing to do with me being in the toilet when we scored the second goal. And when you've actually got an ex-player sends you a message after the game, sort of jokingly saying he hates you, because it was a small matter of this.
Yeah.
I mean, 3-0 last time, 2-1. I was saying to, I rang Brendan, said, look, Brendan, let's not go mad. I don't want to win this by 3 or 4. A 2-1 will just do me nicely in the prediction league. And he said, Chris, anything for you, mate. Anything for you. And, I think that's going to be 7 points clear of you now, Steve Walsh, if you're watching, which you're probably not, but I had to just get that in. I mean, no changes from last time. Kept with the same team. In that first half, I don't think Castagna, nobody really stood out in that first half. Castagna, I didn't think was very good. Fofana, Luke Thomas just couldn't, do anything with his last ball. It was. I did feel because of course Palace are a bit of a bogey team for us.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest admirer of Palace. They either have a really boring manager, which normally coincides with a really boring style of play of football, or they just throw the weight around, and they kind of did a mixture of the three today. I've always found them a very undesirable, hard to watch teams. And I don't know when Zaha's on form, he's a quality player. I'm not doubting that, when he's on form, they do look a lot better, but he's also probably your Crystal Palace's equivalent to Pogba. If he doesn't turn up, Palace don't do a lot. The only difference is Manchester United now have Bruno Fernandes, so they're still doing things without Pogba.
I just want to ask Melina, is Melina got you on wide screen here? Can she see something that we can't hear? She's saying, "Big up, Brad."
Oh God, there we go.
Melina,
this is what I have to deal with, Melina. Everybody, justice for Brad in the comments. # justice for Brad. Come on.
Hey, be careful. We don't upset Stefan.
No.
Should have put a bet on Zaha scoring. In that first half, the most exciting thing for me was trying to explain to my son why I've got an Arsenal fan modding in a Leicester chat. It was that kind of dull and boring.
Because we like to help out those less fortunate as Chris. When Arsenal are going through a crisis, we like to help them out.
Oh, that's your friend and you getting the knife in there. But no, I mean...
I like this job as well. I have to balance it out.
Yeah, you indeed. I mean, it was against the run of play, really, because we could have had a couple. And I looked at it and thought, oh, God, Palace scored. And it was just... against the run of play, if you like. I mean, they only had 2 shots on target the whole game, and that was one of them. But it was kind of like, you could just see it coming, couldn't you? This was Palace again.
Yeah, like I say, they are actually a bogey team of ours. We've never really fared as well as we normally do against other teams of that sort of stature in the Premiership. But it's very pleasing. This is a very big part in Leicester's season at the moment. This is really crucial. And we said before this game came off, it kicked off especially on the back of West Ham and Chelsea playing each other. Before they even played their game, we said 7 points out of 9 is the expectation you're wanting to say that before the big 3 fixtures. I'll air quote that because Manchester United aside, I think the other 2 are definitely winnable games. You just said 7 points pretty much gets you there without a worry of Champions League slipping away, and it was 3 down, 4 to go is the way you see it. It was a result that was needed, and I'm very impressed that we managed to dig it out against what I actually thought was an average Palace side that did nothing wrong that any other team in their position wouldn't do, which is get a 1-0 lead by hook or by crook and stick 11 men behind the ball.
I mean, that's the table at the moment, and it is looking good. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I kind of said, it might have been on this show, I don't know, but one of them, I did say that I thought we were playing for third. But we've got Man United coming up. They're drawing games they should be winning. I don't think second is out of the question. We're 5 points behind Man United, but even more importantly, we're now 7 points ahead of West Ham.
Yeah, and for Leicester fans, that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, the only way, and I cannot see it, I just cannot see it, the only way fourth will not get us Champions League football is if Arsenal somehow pull something out of their arse, because I can't see Chelsea dropping out the top 4. I think that defeats that was pivotal in their battle with West Ham, and maybe if results keep going our way, we could have yet another pivotal game against Manchester United. But like you said, it'd be for a different reason. It'd be us battling the second in the Premiership over staying third. But it's nice having that gap, isn't it? It's a breathing space because this is crunch time now. This is where points are very much of a premium. And I think if you get to them last 3 games and we've still got a 7-point lead, I just don't see where we drop them points and they pick up 3 wins from the last 3 games. I just don't see it. So we've just got to keep doing what we're doing now for the next 2 games, and that should be us home and hose for Champions League.
Someone just posted in the group, apparently, and I know you like the odd stat here, don't you, Brad? Apparently,
I don't mind some stat.
Inacho is only 229 goals behind Shearer's record.
Yeah, well, you might as well give him the title now. Kane might as well retire because Nacho's getting 30 before the end of the season.
I think he should be, yeah. But I think as we look at the top 4, I think possibly that is probably going to be hopefully will be the top 4. Somebody said here, I mean, I hate to say this because I always think, that I don't like to blame the referees and what have you, but, and if it's not the referee, it's VAR. Was Tielemans fouled on Zaha's goal? I'm not sure he was, but later on... Go on, Brad.
My issue I have with that is we've seen them give him. Whether you agree it's a foul or think it was soft and he went down easy and or you may even think it's not a foul. What gripes me is these are the sort of things you see because he puts an elbow in him. Yes, the ball's away from him and Tielemans lost control of the ball, but Benteke used his elbow to take him to the floor so he couldn't get back and try and recover what he did. They're the ones that really bug me because half the time they're a foul and half the time it's good pressure and it's done. The one thing I will say about the official is good or bad tonight is anyone's opinion, but at least he was consistent.
Not consistently bad.
Yeah, when he was good, he was consistently good, and when he was bad, he was consistently bad. And That's probably about the only saving
foul.
grace, because we got away with a few like that tonight that he let play on.
Yeah, the foul at the other end on I forget who it was now. Was it Fafana or when he went down? And then when it was on the line, and to me it was a foul because he was jumped on from behind. It was on the line. It went to VAR. Not even a foul or a free kick, and it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, but I think I don't like it. But when you play a team like Palace, they just really grind my goat as a team. Just today, they got a lot of praise, for me, I don't think it was all too warranted. They were going in two-footed at everything. They were playing some really dirty football at times. Time wasting from the second the ball went in the net. Miraculously, when Leicester were 2-1 up and doing the same, they thought it was against the spirit of football, moaning every half a second. They got away with a lot today, and in the end, like I said, through good or bad officiating at times, it balanced itself out. It was one of them games where I felt that Leicester, like you stated earlier, with their patience, they were like, football karma will get us what we deserve from this game, and in the end, it did that.
It was this. I think we had managing us tonight. The what's it called? The supermarket calming bull. If you see the adverts, obviously no idea what I'm talking about there,
no.
Brad. But
oh God, no, I don't know that one.
One of those comparison site adverts.
No.
Fun enough, just saying that one was totally over your head, wasn't it? Tough crowd tonight. Tough crowd. Leicester City boss Brendan Rodgers speaking to Sky Sports. When you go 1-0 down against one of Roy's teams, who are very well organised and defended with great discipline, it can be very tough. We gave away a poor goal, and I said to the players at half time, we just have to stay calm, was what we were saying then. Keep good positioning and keep circulating the ball at speed. And in the second half, I thought they were outstanding. I mean, it was the old proverbial tale of two halves, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And, like I said earlier, sometimes, when a team plays bad, we're normally talking about a full game where they've had a bad day at the office. This time it was bad first half, rocket up the arse, so to speak, and a completely different second half. And it's nice to see that's the way it's going, because if it was the other way round, like it was, and I hate to bring it up, but the media aren't going to leave it alone until we get top four, so we can't as fans ignore it. But last season, that was maybe what we was doing near the end. We was going all guns blazing for 30 minutes. We'd go a goal behind, and then we wouldn't be able to do anything. Whereas this time, we're just being patient. And even though we went a goal behind, we kept going for the other 78 minutes. And unlike times gone by, where we would have maybe held on to the point or even still lost that game, we've come away with a 2-1 win.
Yes. There was a time when, like you say, last season we probably wouldn't have done that. And, like you said, I have to thank, all the commentators on Sky, BT, Amazon, all of them for reminding us about last season, because we do tend to forget that happened. 1-0 at half time. We came out, like you say, a different team. And I think the least said about the first half, probably the better. But Castagne's goal, he was pointing, he pointed to exactly where he wanted. He got to exactly where he wanted. Not a bad left footer, was it?
No, wasn't it, Alpha? If he got, they got the pre-warning from the West Brom game with that thunderous effort that hit the inside of the post and came out. So, and we know he can be capable of it. His first and only goal up until tonight was proof that he can find the net. And for once kept low in terms of a right back's average shot. It actually kept quite low and hit the back of the net. It was a great finish, and it was by Mr. Psychic himself with the assist as well. That was a beautifully weighted ball to him.
I mean, I know And I know Molina's got him in his fantasy team, so has my son. My son's put him in, and he captained him this week. So an assist and a goal, he's really really happy.
Son's rolling in it.
Yeah, Southampton will be trying to burst our bubble on Friday. Rob says, "Yeah, we're coming on to sort of the games we've got coming up a little bit later on, mate." David Gamble here saying Madison was very poor tonight. Points. 4-4. Oh, as I say, points for him for. Yeah, it wasn't Madison's best game, but he's still coming back from that injury, isn't he? And he played 2 games very close together, so he can't play him. These players can't play brilliantly every single game.
No, that's very, very true. And another one that tonight didn't have his best game was probably George Thomas, and that's just from the same exact thing. You've got to remember that we've never made the excuse, and we hopefully as a club will never make the excuse that we've had a tough season due to injuries, but they are part and parcel. I am losing my words today, mate. I tell
Have you been
my
drinking? Have you been drinking, mate?
This is not a sponsored gin advert. I can't get my words out. I'm absolutely buffed, Roger.
I think as Jesus Christ, you've been having too much of the blood of Christ. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I've been turning too much of my water into wine. I need to stop doing that. And sometimes when you got to remember these players are human after all, and they have to come back from these injuries. And they're doing it at an incredible rate at Leicester. And given what happened over the last 2 or 3 seasons, well, we've lost players to big injuries, Ricardo, and it's happened again this season with Barnes. We're trying so hard during this coronavirus that has affected football for over a year now, and how the game's been played and everything, to say that we've got a squad of players that can change a game up, it benefits us because Madison gets a bit of a rest. He had 2 brilliant games before this. And like I said in the show, it's something I've always made clear that when players have a good game, I will give them the support and praise they deserve. And Perez came on and was a better suit to the game.
Yes.
For us today.
And Inacho's goal, sublime.
The goalkeeper's got a family, mate. Come on. How's he going to be able to look his family in the eye and describe what happened to him tonight? The Nigerian god came into his goal and thunderbolted it past him. How's he going to explain that? He's not going to be able to go to training tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, and this is what we forget with Ancho, he isn't just a goal scorer. I mean, he took it down brilliantly.
Yeah, he did. It was an absolutely fantastic touch. And he was like that all game. Like I said, I half joked at his psychic ability to set up Castagne, but he could have ended that game with 3 more assists tonight had things fallen better. That is more testament to the improvement because you're seeing not just the ability for the likes of Vardy and that to be able to pick him out, which is what maybe was anyone's concern that he wasn't doing the picking out himself. Now he's getting assists added to his game as well as goals, and he's finding the likes of Castagne, Tillemans, Ndidi, Madison, and Vardy. He's finding all his teammates around him without even looking because they know where each other are, and it's brilliant.
Like you say there, maybe we can't be pleased as fans because if they were greedy and not setting up players when they look to be in a better position, we'd be complaining. But sometimes, like you said earlier, Brad, it's a case of go on, you have it, no, you have it, no, you have it.
Yeah, you can't believe it. I was thinking, and again, calmness on the pitch brings calmness to the fans. I mean, I know you were spending your time in your carsy, but I've said a lot this season that the way Leicester can hold a lead and the way they manage a performance when they're in front in the latter stages of the game this season has been one of the most pleasing things for me as a Leicester fan, because I didn't really ever feel that a third was necessary, but it was like, for God's sakes, I know you're trying to show that you're a good team unit, but one of you stick it in just to see it off, just so we can enjoy the last few minutes. But yeah, if one doesn't want a goal, you'd have thought the other one would have.
Yes, you would. We can start to dream, can't we?
Yeah, I think this is one of them where, as a fan, I remember a certain great manager of ours that achieved an impossible dream said, it's the fans' rights to dream. They should always be dreaming. And I think now we dream with a little bit of maybe slightly nervous optimism thrown in. That it's one of them that's surely going to happen now. It's more feel that calmer ease. Leicester have come through the last 7 or 8 weeks with some really good results. They've always managed to bounce back. I don't think we've ever lost more than 2 on the bounce when we have. It's just a feel-good factor. And like I said, it's at a point that it almost feels like that Premier League winning season, doesn't it? Where this is now not a case of if, it's when for Leicester.
Yeah.
And let's just hope that's how it is.
My son made the point that obviously last time there was a crowd in the King Power, Nacho wasn't the Nacho that we know him of now. And he's going to come back to this song. I mean, this is going to be his song, you know, the Village People, Macho Man. And he's going to walk out. I mean, they're saying possibly the last 2 games. So, you know, he's going to walk out for that. Is it Spurs of them were at home, I think, at the end? And he's going to walk out on there and he'll stick his chest out. He's going to feel brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, and could you, and maybe, you know, sometimes you say you got to look at the positives in all these hard times over the last 18 months or so, or however long. It feels a lot longer, I'm going to be honest with you, than how long it actually has been. I in a way, in the nicest way possible, because I don't think we've got the meanest of fans. We just wear our hearts on our sleeves and maybe expect more because they play for our club. But I think that until obviously he's gone on such an amazing run over this time, he's always divided the fans. You've had some that have said he's obviously not good enough and Rodgers isn't playing for that reason. And you've had some, you know, want fans to stick by him. And I think maybe he's one of the players you could say has benefited in being given an extended period of time. And that is our new lovely clock you guys can hear play in the background. That's my signal to stop talking because that thing is noisy and I forgot about that. Didn't think it would go off. That's brilliant.
I think if that's funny, then your phone going off.
I know, right? That is funnier. But yeah, I think maybe Nacho's benefited from being able to build his confidence away from the fans, and I'm just going to pretend it's not happening. And I'm going to ask you for your next question, Chris.
Sorry, you said this was a cuckoo clock.
No.
What is it? Is it a cuckoo clock?
No, it's very old. It's one of my housemates. I don't know if you saw it, but it's one of my housemates.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, but that'd wake up the living dead, wouldn't it, if it goes off in the middle of the night, you know?
Well, I don't know. I've slept through it, and if it can't wake me up, then the living dead are fine, I'll tell you that much.
We better get as much as we can in the next half hour then, before it goes off again. David says here, we can all dream. Of course we can. He also said earlier, I'm just trying to find it, don't you think the game was slow, no pace? I just think like I say, we'd played a game 3 days ago, and I just think the guys are tired.
Yeah, and I think he's right in the first half, and I think maybe again more credit due to the manager. I think Brendan knows that his team have played, you know, 3 games in a short space of time. You know, well, 3 to 4 days between them, including the FA Cup. And as you noted, Chris, Crystal Palace haven't played in 16 games. Maybe Brendan Rodgers, who's normally quite critical of us being slow in the first half, when the games are a bit more fresher, you know, because if you can kind of handle 2 games a week and then have a bit of a break, but when you've played like this is Leicester's 4th game in what feels like 8 or 9 days, and like you say, you feel that Palace have had so much time to be prepared. You also know that they're lacking actual on the game time, match practice, which is above all the most important thing. And I think maybe Brendan wasn't too happy that the play was as slow as it was in the first half. But I think his temperament was to allow the lads to conserve their energy and let them tire first.
Yeah.
Because not playing a competitive game for 16 games does affect you just as much as probably playing 2 games in 6 or 7 days.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about 3 different things here. Casper's added 20 yards to his goal kick. Did Brad give him some training? And the bronze plumber there saying maybe Brad gave him something in training.
Well, I can't divulge the information, but all Brendan says is a beautiful human being that helped with the kicking, so it must have been me.
I mean, I kind of didn't get excited about today's game, and not in the same way as I did against the West Brom, because I think of the way we played. But who sort of, as you look at it, I mean, I know they got the early goal, but they never looked like troubling us, did they?
No, it was the most annoying time. It's most annoyed I've ever been at coming in 1-0 down, because they didn't even deserve that. I really didn't think they do. I don't know why they're getting whacked so much lyrical off by the other press, because honestly, maybe I'm being harsh and it's just my overall disdain for them as a team and just the way they go about football in general. But I came off scratching my head at half time. We've sat here, Chris, haven't we, in games gone by and gone, we deserve to be behind, or we deserve to get beat, or we didn't deserve to win. Fair dues. If we just stopped the game at half time and we came up live, mate, I'd have been banging my head against the brick wall going, how have we come in being probably the second worst team on that pitch, in all fairness, in what was still a dreary half of football, in all essence, and yet we've come in 1-0 down. I couldn't work it out, because they weren't that brilliant at all.
No, but games like that are games that, you know, a few years ago we might have lost.
Yeah.
You know, those are the games that you say that can make the difference between 3rd and 4th and 5th.
Yeah, them games, I think someone summed it up nicely at the end of Sky, just as I turned off, because they're no doubt going to spend 2 minutes talking about Leicester Palace and move on to a game irrelevant of next week. And one of them, I think it was Martin Tyler, might have said, that's what good teams do. They find a way to win. And that's one of them things that, like you said, like last year and maybe the season before, and maybe for a couple of seasons, Leicester have lacked. That's what we've lacked. That's what's been missing from our game. And this season, that's why I think there's just that air of extra optimism and a slight bit of relaxing feeling. Not of comfort, but a bit more confident fan base for this run-in, because Leicester keep finding a way to win. Because remember, we were just as sluggish in our midfield build-up against West Brom, and we blew West Brom away. And tonight, Palace put 11 men behind the ball after they went 1-0 up, and we found a way to win. If Leicester do that every week, I don't think Leicester's fans have got much more to worry about for the end of the season, except for whether we'll be 2nd or 3rd.
We're going to have a look at the man of the match and the ratings in a minute. So we'll just be back in 10 seconds after a quick word from Alan Smith.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
Cheers, Alan. Yeah, up the foxes indeed. You probably saw this earlier, and I'm pretty sure you did, Brad. But this was Alan Bennett, who does our man of the match and player and manager ratings. Talk us through this.
I think it's a pretty fair assessment of the breakdown because the manager, if you look at it the way that it could have been perceived with all the information pre-match of, Leicester playing consistently and my thoughts on how Brendan's gone about preparing them for the game and how he's chose to build up through the levels of tempo tonight. I think Alan's spot on with the 8 for the manager, and I think the team again probably warrants only being a 7 because they didn't really click it quick enough in that first half to Brendan's liking, and you can't help but not picking Iheanacho has to be your man of the match in recent weeks, doesn't he? Because he's grabbing every headlines available for all the right reasons and what he's doing on the pitch. So again,
I get why he is man of the match, and I think he's probably won more man of the matches in the last week than the rest of the team put together in the last weeks, I should say. In fact, as I say that, David's just confirmed there he's won the last 4 times in the last 3 weeks. But for me, and I know 1 or 2 people have sort of had a moan about this guy, but I just want to say, to me, somebody who for me had a really, really, really good game, Johnny Evans.
Yes. Let's not forget there was a very pivotal moment, and doesn't matter that maybe the guy should have taken it on himself. The fact is, Evans didn't give it up, and I've been one to maybe pull a few punches at Evans because of the level I expect from Evans as such a glittered career he's had. I've doubted his ability to maybe give up the ghost a little bit sometimes when chasing on a lost cause. Tonight, take me out to you, sir. I'll have a slice of humble pie, because if it wasn't for Evans, we would have been straight away on the back foot after getting ourselves back into a game that we should never have been behind in the first place. Yeah. So well done, Johnny Evans.
It was an amazing tackle, which I was, to be honest with you, I was surprised that VAR didn't give it as a red card because he touched the ball. But meow. But also the pass, for Iheanacho's goal, he's got an assist for it. It was pinpoint.
Yeah, and that's something that's maybe gone under the radar that people haven't noticed. He's finding a way, and maybe it's because a lot more of them, should I say, go askew than to their destinations at time. But he's been doing that a lot this season, and casually over the last couple of weeks, it's got a lot more accurate. And like you said, he's finding the likes of Iheanacho, who seems to be around everywhere. Wherever there's a ball in the final third, Iheanacho's not far behind it, and it's working. It's working really well for the collective of the team. And like I said, humble pie on his ability to chase back and not give up the ghost, and credit to him in playing his part in building up an attack.
I mean, for me, Bronze Plumber there said, and Bronze, I want you to come on and actually sing Nacho Man for us, because you put it up earlier. Don't you think, Brad? Do you think you should come on and sing Nacho Man?
Yeah, see, that's something that I know that I've been standing with as well on that. I've always had that because it's the easiest song to translate for his nickname. So I'd be very happy to come on and see someone do a Homer Simpson. That's my favourite. That's my favourite gift to use for Nacho at the moment. So
come on, Bronzy. I've put the link in the comments there. Like I said to you there, guess who predicted the score right? And I did say earlier, but I think it is worth another mention here. I think it was me.
What, mate? You don't half know how
Yes.
to like be subtle about this, don't you?
And just subtle's my middle name. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know,
So gracious, aren't you? So
I am.
gracious, mate.
I am indeed, you know, especially when I've got to correct people's names, you know. He says, I am here with the kids asleep. Yeah, Bronzy, whatever. You'll tell us anything. You can turn it into a lullaby for them then, I'm sure, you know. That's the thing when you're actually down the King Power and you're singing with 29,000 other people around you singing, the fact that you're out of tune doesn't matter, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
But I mean, let's have a look at what is coming up because we alluded to this earlier. So we've got Palace out the way. We've got Southampton, and we'll take these one at a time. We've got Southampton on Friday. Can't believe we're on Friday, but you know it's at Southampton. We're away, so it's at St Mary's on a Friday night. With any luck, it might be raining. And who knows? 7, 8, 9? I don't think it will be, though, Brad. Do you?
Well, no, and I think that's something that we've definitely seen. I mean, against West Brom, we talked about how, and we've done it a few times this season over other games, where we could have gone for the juggler, and you know, and probably put 6 or 7 past West Brom on another day. But we like to just do what's needed. And not be too edgy about it. I think the idea against Southampton is we know they're hurting. We beat them in a cup final, semi-final. I wish it was a cup final, but a cup. You know, we knocked them out of the semi-final. We've already beaten them once in the league. They're suffering. They're desperate for some form of win, just to get something to go into the last few games of the season to pick up their form. They wouldn't like to lose. I don't think anyone would like to lose to the same opposition for twice in a season, let alone 3 times. So I think that makes tonight's result even more pivotal because although Newcastle are seemingly on good form as well at the moment, I feel because Newcastle would be at the King Power, isn't it? That's at home, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think you'd feel, you know, like we said before these games were played, 7 points is the target. The win tonight gives you that ability to know that I think we could beat both Southampton and Newcastle. But if we're going to say we only get 7 points, I think you'd be more suggesting the win at home against Newcastle rather than beating Southampton and then drawing to Newcastle. So
yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here, and my complaint was before the fact that Palace haven't played for 16 days. Okay, they were down probably to play a cup team and what have you. I'm just having a look when Southampton last played, and they played on Wednesday the 21st.
Did they? I don't know. I thought they played this weekend and got beat. I didn't have a need to follow.
Yeah, Sunday. I'm just trying to find them. Wolves played Burnley, Leeds, Man United, Villa, Brom, Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham, Chelsea, Sheffield United, Brighton, Arsenal, Everton on the Friday, Leicester, West Brom on the Thursday, Wednesday, Tottenham, Southampton, Aston Villa, Man City. I mean, you know, there's going to be another game where we're going to be sort of knackered and they're going to be fresh.
Yeah, but again, you'd feel that if Leicester present themselves a bit quicker with their first half, I wouldn't say you'd want them much quicker than what they were this half, maybe a bit more switched on and a bit more moving the ball a bit quicker in that first half than do again. I think you have the same effect. You know, like I've stressed the point all night, sometimes playing too much is just as much a hindrance as not playing at all. You know, that'll be that's a still a long gap, and you know it might be interesting. You know, you say you can't change a winning side. Well, Brendan might look at the Newcastle game as the more opportune game that's expected to win despite Southampton's form. And
I've just confirmed it, and it was Spurs was their last game, but they've lost. But I mean, Southampton's form, they've at the last 5, they've actually lost 4, and they only beat Burnley. I didn't realise. My son told me the other day because Burnley won 4-0 the weekend, and they were actually at 4-0 up. They were playing keepy ball in the corner.
I thought that was brilliant.
And then we've got Newcastle, who are on the a bit of a better run at them. I mean, they're safe now. Again, they're not going to go down. You know, I mean, if you look at the league here with Newcastle, they are on. I mean, they're still down there, but they're on 36 points. But they're 9 points ahead of Fulham. You know, and they've all played the same number of games. You know, so they're pretty much safe. I think nothing to play for.
The irony. Yeah, the irony isn't it? It's kind of ironic, isn't it? That the only person in under an Arsenal contract that can say his season was a success is Joe Willock.
And
that's because he's helping keeping a team up. There's no one else been that successful. You know, that says a lot about Arsenal Football Club's current form and issues within the clubs. That Aloni is having a successful season in comparison. But we do like our record against Newcastle, especially at home. I feel we always score a lot of goals past them over the last 3 or 4 seasons. In fact, I don't think they beat. I could be wrong, but Newcastle haven't beat us since we signed a certain Jose Perez. So, you know, if nothing else, we'll always say Jose Perez has always been reliable for that. They may have beaten us or drawn us once since then, but it feels like a long time since Newcastle.
Yeah, they've beaten us once. I'm going back to April 2019, but they beat us 1-0. But since then, we put 5 past them in the next game, 3 past them in the game after, and 2-1 earlier in the season. So, you know, I mean, it's that time of the season when basically every game is a potential banana skin.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. But that's what I mean. If Leicester follow suit with the way they do it tonight, and they do that against Southampton and Newcastle, and like I said, if they come out of them games with 4 points, I just don't see how, if we maintain a 7-point lead over 5th place, how we fall out of the top 4. And I think I just don't see us not winning one of them games either. I just don't see how we don't pick up 3 points at worst. And Manchester United's a game where I can see us getting a point out of.
And you've looked there. I mean, after that, it's the big one, really. The first big one in a couple of big games, Man United, and we're away at Old Trafford. Depends if Pogba turns up or not, but you got to look at that and think, oh, yeah, that could be a bit of a not necessarily a decider, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think it'd be more of a decider for what you said earlier. And only if for me, I'm fairly confident that Leicester have put themselves now in a position. And sorry, something's really bugging me on myself. Just a minute. That Leicester are in a position where they, and the way they have handled the games and played in the last 3 or 4 games, especially. That I'd feel the only thing that would be up for grabs on that game would be Leicester trying to swing the pendulum for 2nd place, because and obviously it can all change quickly, and we could be talking in 2 games' time about Manchester United being a big game again, as in for Champions League football. But from what I've seen from us throughout the whole of this season, I just don't see where we don't come out of them 3 games with some form of points. I think a draw at Old Trafford is plausible. And I think if Manchester United have a 4 or 5 point lead still over us at that point, they just won't want to lose that game. And I can see that being the case. And then at that point, I mean, is Tottenham really a scary game?
Tottenham, no. That's what I'm probably
I'm
not
more scared of Southampton
about.
and Newcastle than Spurs.
You know, don't tell Ryan I said that, but it doesn't worry me at all. I mean, the FA is the same for us as the Leicester City website. They've got us playing Chelsea twice on the same day. But interesting to see if Chelsea and Leicester play each other. Probably won't be the last game because that's going to be Tottenham, but it will probably be after the FA Cup now, I'm guessing. Because we play on the Tuesday before the Saturday. So we've got the 2 games after the FA Cup. But it would be interesting if a point would serve us both and would get us in the top 4. What how do you approach that? Do you as players think like, well, hang on? I mean, I go back again. You're probably too young to remember the infamous Austria-Germany game in the World Cup, where they both only needed a draw, and that's what they got.
I mean, it's easy to take that concept, and sometimes as players, you do see, don't you, in the last like two or 3 games, maybe when there's either nothing to play for or it's fairly wrapped up, where apart from a position or 2, you're not going to change, and it's not going to affect your season dramatically. I.e., Leicester finishing 3rd or 4th or even potentially 2nd at this point. But if you're saying by that point, I think football's probably changed a little bit to the point now where I remember, the Great Escape, where Leicester played Sunderland, and a draw was potentially good enough for Sunderland, but was, and Leicester to have been guaranteed safety. But as results filtered through from the crowd, obviously we knew that a draw was going to be good enough for Leicester. And I still remember that game that Leicester were going for the win, and I think it might have been Seb Larsson had a chance late on to nearly nick a win for Sunderland. Obviously, we all know they didn't in the end, and we held on for the draw. But I think that's the sort of approach you have in that game where you look after yourself first. I think in that position, Leicester would rather come off the pitch with 3 points and saying, well, we're 100% know we're Champions League next season. And maybe Chelsea still get it at that point, and they still hold on, but you just put a little bit of creep of doubt into the team below you. It just helps you finish the season even better because you've done your job, and then you're just playing with absolute no pressure.
I'm going to end with this question for you, and I dread to say a quick answer, but you know what I mean. Will we still have Brendan next year? Yeah.
He's not going to go anywhere.
You don't think? I mean, obviously, the team I'm referring to is
and it's grinding my absolute gears. I don't see any logic in why he would leave to go and why would he leave not just the club but the owners of this club and go to a backstabbing, ESL supporting, money terrified, moaning arse of a man in Daniel Levy? I wouldn't. Nobody would want that job. I don't know why it's a persistent rumour to the point where it's gone past being funny and boring. It's now getting on my nerves. There's no reason on this earth that any manager would want the Spurs job. So I don't understand why these rumours keep persisting.
I said that to my son earlier when we were talking about it. We tended to talk a lot during the first half for some reason. I don't know why. But I said to him, what has he got what's he going to get at Spurs? He's certainly not going to get European football. He might sneak into the Europa League. He's got a fantastic stadium. The KP's not grotty after all, and we're probably going to expand it. We've got the world-class training facility. I just don't see, like you said, Tottenham as a attractive proposition to any manager of that stature.
No, they're not. And the fact that the one man that might go there and do anything because of the fact that they're wanting it for a big long-term contract and know they can bend Levy to his will of spending was Mourinho, and even he didn't want anything to do with it. If that man can't trust the owner. Why would Brendan leave a secure job where his job's being applauded week in, week out? He's reaping the benefits of returning to England and choosing Leicester over another year at Celtic.
Yeah.
I just maybe the newspapers are all tripping on some illegal substances. I don't know, but I just can't understand why they're persistently every time to pick Tottenham.
Yes,
as his choice.
I think when you look at it for Brendan, he will. I mean, I'm sure eventually, and I did say when we first got him, great signing. He'll be with us 4 or 5, 6 seasons, maybe, depending how well we do, and then he will look possibly to move on. We've got to be acceptable. We've got to accept, that we are, in the pecking order of teams now.
He's the present day Martin O'Neill.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the statement I've always stood by. Yeah. He will build his project, get his name, and then he'll leave us in good hands. And hopefully, we don't fuck up passing the torch this time.
And get it on to Peter Taylor back and Junior Lewis. Yeah. Junior Lewis.
Oh yeah. Get him on a 6-month loan.
But then again, I miss Piles, and they're a pain in the arse as well. Bum. But I think. You're looking at Spurs, because I think the thing is, obviously their favourite for the job has now gone to whoever it is in Germany. I think they've either got to go abroad or they've got to look at somebody that's looking to make that step up. Possibly, it was said today on the radio, Parker at Fulham.
Parker at Fulham. Parker from Fulham to Tottenham. Did they not learn from the times when they've hired the likes of Andres Villas-Boas and Tim Sherwood to be the manager?
No, but I'm just thinking who's.
No, it just no. You're right.
The
sad thing is, it sounds like such a Spurs appointment. Yeah, it sounds like such a Spursy appointment.
Yes, yeah, it does indeed. It does indeed. And I always think with these teams, be careful what you wish for. I can remember years ago, Blackburn Rovers wanting Keane out, and they got rid of him when they were in the Premier League, and they virtually went down to the 3rd tier. No disrespect, Molina. Everybody sort of seemed to want Wenger out. Well, looking back, he wasn't doing a bad job for you. So you've got to be careful what you wish for. What I wish for is a top 4 finish and a cup final win.
Yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. I'll take that right now. You tell me we're getting top 4 and the FA Cup's winning ours.
Yeah,
Brad, I'll fall under. No, sorry. I'll let the show end.
No, thank you very much, Brad. It was a hard fought one, but hey, a win is a win, and 3 points is 3 points. Let's just remind ourselves where we are. We are third. Look at that, 62 points, and 7 points ahead of West Ham, 8 points ahead of Liverpool. It's not looking bad, is it? Not looking bad
and
at all.
If you really squint, you can see that team in whites that top of the mid-table at Hotspur. I think it reads. I can't read them, but they're sat in 7th, I think.
Well, to be honest with you, I was actually going to try and include Arsenal in it, but there wasn't enough space on the graphic to go that far down low. Bronze is saying here FA Cup win would make his year. I think we'd all be the same. I think we'd be drinking forever and a day. Brad, I'll see you on Friday, same time, same place, same channel. It's another night game. We seem to be having a lot of those coming up just recently. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking sense. And as Melina says, thanks for putting up with me.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a pleasure as always. It's hard. You're hard work at times, but I deal with you, mate.
Well, you Jesus, so I know you're going to forgive me.
Oh yeah, well I have to, don't I? It's in my book. Read it up. Get that. There's no 30% off my book though. You just find me on.
It's in your contract, mate. It's in your contract. But Jay, just don't sit too comfy with that contract. Mourinho was on a contract, and look what happened to him. So just
that's all right. I'll sign an Alan Pardew on 8-year deal, mate. 8-year deal.
8 years, my God, I'll be dead by then. Right, mate, all the best. I'll see you 10:30 on Friday night after the Southampton game. Take care, mate.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Cheers. Yep. So 3 points, still in third. Haven't moved, but we've made that gap a bit bigger. Mind the gap, as they say. And if you don't mind, have a look at the website here. Just going to mention it again. All the W's, minding my own football business, the story of Leicester City in the 90s. And you can get 30% off at all the W's, minding my own football business.co.uk for April only. So there's 4 days to go on that. So don't miss out. Thanks for joining us, guys. We are back tomorrow with the football show, 7:00. And then Wednesday, we are here with the opposition view show, I believe. Thursday, it's the preview show. And then Friday, obviously, it is the the match. You can't get enough of me, can you? Tell you what, I can't get enough of myself. I can get enough of myself. That's the problem. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for joining in. Press that subscribe button. And don't forget, if you want to listen to the shows back and you prefer to do it while you're doing the washing up or while you're doing the car, it's Anchor. We are on as podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, just to name a few. We will see you tomorrow night at 7. Thanks very much, guys. All the best. Take care and stay safe. And up the Foxes.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.